In this video, I'm going to show you how to open up the Keysight Network Analyzer software so that you can use the VNAs in the lab. And I'll also just talk about some quick troubleshooting problems. So the first thing you'll want to do when you log in is you'll press the Windows key and you should see a bunch of apps show up here. Now if you don't, you'll want to talk to the lab aide. There's some nuanced issues going on and it's not too difficult to fix, but nonetheless, if all these apps are appearing, you'll scroll down to K and you'll find Keysight Network Analyzer. You'll right click on it and you'll pin it to the start. So if yours is already pinned, that's great. It probably won't be, but in the future you won't have to do that step. Once it's pinned, it'll just show up right here and you can click on it and open the software. Now it should show up as you see right here. If the VNA is not turned on, there will be nothing in this box and you'll have to turn the VNA on. There's just a little power button on the VNA and you'll just press it and turn it on and repeat the previous steps and you should be able to see this. Now once you see that, go ahead and click on this item in the box and press run, and that'll open up the software and it will look something like this. Let me readjust the camera real quick. All right. So calibration is pretty quick and easy to do, and it's very important when running a simulation. It's also easy to mess up. So there's a lot of steps involved. Please follow along as closely as possible, and you might have to watch this video a few times to get all the steps down. So the first thing we want to do when calibrating is set the range of our VNA. If we calibrate over this range, for example, the full range of the VNA, 300 kilohertz to 6.5 gigahertz, but we end up running an experiment over a different range, and we change the range of the VNA, well, all our data points will be thrown off. So we need to set the correct range. The way to do this is to go to Sweep, and you change the start and the stop to whatever you want. So I'm going to set the stop at 1.2 gigahertz. And we'll leave the start at 300 kilohertz. Now you can also change the number of points. There's no reason not to have a higher number of points. So go ahead and just set it to, I don't know, 1,000 or whatever you like. All right. Once we have the sweep parameters set up, we can proceed to calibrate. So the first thing you'll want to do when calibrating after that is you'll want to connect this RG174 to this other cable. And you'll want to be really careful in doing this. As I mentioned in a previous video, these cables can be pricey, so be gentle with them. And you'll only want to rotate this outer sleeve, and you don't want to go too tight, but just tight enough. That's perfect. Now, once that's set up, we'll go back to the software and we'll click this Cal button on the right. I'll move my mouse so you can see it. We'll press Cal, Basic Cal. We'll select SMA, Ideal SMA. If you're doing a 2-port calibration, we can discuss that in another video, but for now we'll just do a 1-port calibration. So port 1. You want to make sure that the calibrating standard is set up. So this is the device under test. You can see this is a male calibrating adapter. It's kind of hard to see in the video. Let me see if I can get it to focus. And so since this is a male calibrating adapter, we want to make sure that male is selected on the device under test. And then from here, you'll just choose Open Short Load. Click Next. And now we just need to connect each adapter and press each of these buttons. So I'll show you exactly what I mean. First, we need to do the open. Well, you can do them in any order, but I'll start with the open circuit. It's this one. And we need to connect it here. So the way to do that is to use a short barrel connector. You'll tighten it in, and then this one you can make it pretty tight. Now you'll connect the open calibrating standard, and you'll screw it on until it's just tight. Now we'll go up here and we'll press open. And it'll make a pleasant little beep if it's done it correctly. Now we need to connect the short. So we'll disconnect this one. And you want to make sure that this barrel connector doesn't rotate. If it rotates, you may have to restart the calibration. So next we're doing the short, so I'll grab the short calibrating standard, and I'll connect it. Make sure it's just tight. Now I'll go up here and press short. Next is the load, so I'll disconnect the short calibrating standard. And I'll connect the load. Then I'll press the load button. And I'll click finish. And that is all the steps for calibration. Now see my next video for interpreting results and seeing if we have a good calibration.